Evening all, and welcome back to Kerbalism. So now we have our moon mining rig back on the moon doing its bits and pieces. There's a few things we want to do. First one is expand it with a nuclear reactor, a proper nuclear reactor. We've got the little one, which is good. It's a good reactor, but it only produces 60 electric a second. What we need is something like the Prometheus, which produces 2000 EC a second, and that would allow us to run the mining rig permanently. We wouldn't have to worry about it running out of water or any bits and pieces. I would also like to send up some tanks to increase the hydrogen storage and bits and pieces because, we obviously had some issues with them going boom. We also... what? Apparently I can already unlock the garnet reactor. Oh no, I can't unlock, sorry, that's that. I can't afford these. These were all far too expensive to unlock. But yeah, sorry, confused there. And we would also need, well, probably not to start with, but a whirligig nuclear reprocessor to allow us to change depleted fuel into a rich uranium again. That means we need 550 science points. That's pretty good though, because in our contracts here, we have 3 contracts I forgot about. Plant a flag on the moon, science data from space around the moon, and science data from the surface of the moon. We can do all 3 of those. I think. We can definitely do 2. That one I think we can do with the moon station. So let's go to the moon station and have a look. Right, so can we do any scientific experiments with what is here? We don't have any crew, so we can't do a crew report. Do we have any scientific instruments on here? Can the probe... No, apparently the probe doesn't have any scientific ability. Do we have someone here? I think the idea was that I was just going to mine water and bring it backwards and forwards. And then I built this, which was actually going to take liquid fuel and oxidizer backwards and forwards. So, and then I've got the other one, which can bring liquid fuel in that. So, I'm not really sure. Oh no, that was going to take the fuel back to Kerbin, wasn't it? That one. And the moon, this was going to process all the ore because it was going to have stuff added to it. But now we're processing the ore on the planet, so we're just going to bring the fuel backwards and forwards using the other pod, which is fine. So we can't science here at all. We don't have anything that will let us do any form of science. We've only got crew reports, and crew reports you can't do without a crew. Okay, so we can't do that. But we can go down to the moon mining rig, which I really need to switch to a base. So let's do that first. Let's rename vessel and change it to be a base. Moon mining rig 2, accept. I would also like to send a rover down here so that they can go over and grab the moon mining rig 1 and maybe recycle it in some way, shape or form. I'm not sure how that's going to work. I also need to figure out a way to strengthen this because that is wiggling a lot. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Our water electrolysis is apparently running, yet doing nothing. That's probably because we don't have any space for any oxygen to go. No. So that means it's going to take 855 years to up our liquid fuel. Yeah. And the anthropochrono process eats through our oxygen like nobody's business. Unbelievable how quickly the oxygen actually drops down. So, yeah, I think we need another tank of another tank for oxygen storage, which would definitely help the whole thing. Anyway, we want to take a crew report and transmit it back. And then, Lubris, you are going to get out. you are going to plant a flag. Plant flag! Oh no, we've lost the signal with the flag. Oh dear. Awesome. Mining base. Oh. Mining base. Okay, there we go. Right. And now you can get back in. And that should be 2 contracts complete. He says, go away. Yes, there we have 2 contracts complete. So let's see what sort of science that gave us. Well, it didn't give us any science. It gave us money. I don't know what I was thinking there. I really don't know what I was thinking there. Okay, so we do have some science in our Duna orbiter. Where are you? The Duna scanner. But we have no signal to the Duna scanner because of Kerbin being so far away. So we're going to have to wait like half a year for Duna to come back into range to transport that back. I'm kind of thinking that we do have many science experiments that we haven't done around Kerbin, and some we haven't done in orbit, but I've never taken a Kerbal out of Kerbin's sphere of influence. That is something I'd like to give a try. It takes, I believe, 15 days to break Kerbin's sphere of influence, and then another 15 days to come back. So I would need to build a craft that can carry a number of Kerbals, I'm not sure how many yet, but a number of them, out to the sun and then back, well, not to the sun, but just out of Kerbin's sphere of influence and back again. And that will allow us to get loads of science and loads of bits and pieces. So I will be right back once we've done that. And here we are on the launch pad with my very experimental Space Shuttle 1. It's experimental because I don't know if it can fly. You'd have thought with the, I don't even know how many years of experience I've had with the Kerbal Space Program, I could figure out whether a space plane or plane could fly. But I'm hazarding a guess. I mean, it all looks okay. Normally I would build the space plane first and then build the tank after it, but I built it the other way around, and for some reason if I change my root part it crashes my game. So yeah, I just decided to go with this and see what happens. I didn't put any Kerbals in this, it's completely remote controlled, so you haven't got to worry about that. I have looked at it here. It's not quite a space shuttle replica because it's obviously got a engine on the bottom there, but yeah, I think that's sort of just gonna be so I want to set my thrust to about sort of 10%, I think. 33, 66, 100, that's 100, so yeah, so 33, yeah, so it's going to be about sort of there-ish, I think. And that should put my centre of mass, my centre of thrust about there, and my centre of mass is about there, so that should mean we go straight. At full thrust this will nosedive over, and it will probably do a complete flip and hit. It'll go over so badly it'll hit this. That's how tightly it will turn. But yeah, I think there. So it's going to be a very quick sort of adjustment. If it doesn't, I need to remember which button's which to make sure I can cut the engines or turn them on or whatever. I don't know. So I'm going to take this into space and try and dock it with a space station. Although I'm just going to launch it now. I'm not really worried about it. I'm going to take it in space. It can dock. It's got a docking port there. We'll take it in space and we'll bring it back down again and just see if it can glide, if it can land, if it can do whatever it does. I don't know. It just may not be good enough. But I thought, well, I'd test it on camera because something different, you know, something different. So far I've been doing lots of building and constructing things in space, and it probably be a little bit boring for you, but yeah. Okay, so engines to about 10%. SES is turned on, everything is good. Push the button and pray to the Kraken. Oh! Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, radial out, please. If you can. No, we're going over. No, we're dead. 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 And I know what happened there as well. I know exactly what happened there as well. Well, the good news is the crew, if they were on board, would have survived. But they didn't, because they weren't on board. But I know what happened there. I was setting my thrust lower because I had changed these. You can change the thrust limiter, and in the VAB you can see where the centre of thrust is. Of course, by changing this here, it changes all the engines, which include the mainsail that was on the main stage. So that's why that didn't work. I would actually need to physically change these down to about 10% and then fire thrust the engines at full, and then manually change as I go. So yeah, now I know. Let's try again, shall we? Right, so here we are with exactly the same craft a little bit later. This whole thing cost 200,000 to launch, so it's not that expensive, and I do recover a fair bit. Probably when it doesn't explode, so we did lose a bit of money last go, but yeah. So I'm going to drop these down to 10% because that's where I set it in the VAB, like so. And I'm going to pin both of those up there and see how it goes. I do have a contract for testing some engines as well. The Rhino engine, I forgot about that. I could have probably fit the Rhino on the bottom there. Oh well. But we have the Vector engine. We need to be flying at 23 to 27 kilometers at 470 to 550 meters a second. I don't know whether we can achieve that, but I'll give it a go. Let's leave that up as well. Okay, so engines 10%, thrust to full, throttle to full. That's on 100%. That should keep everything working. That should be fine. Everything should be good. So go. Ooh, they need to go up a little bit. Twenty point five. 20.5. Okay. Okay. No, it's a bit too much. A bit too much. 16 is probably too little. My 16. Is that good? That looks better. I could probably do with turning off the gimbal on them, to be honest with you. Although they are very, very useful for gimbaling. So oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Come on, come back, come back, come back, come back, come back, come back. You're okay. Don't worry. You're okay. You can do this, Space Shuttle. You can do this. I believe in you. Let's put them up to 19%. Oh, disconnect those. Oh, what the earth happened there? Oh. Yay. Right. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. You, get off. Get off, get off, get off. Okay. Riddling. Point down, point down. I don't think I can. All my weight's at the yeah, those engines weigh a lot. Why are you not detaching from my craft? How strange. Oh well. Right, well this is in a complete flat spin. I can't get the nose down. The rear end is just too heavy on this. By the looks of it. Yep, the rear end is far too heavy on it. And the SAS on, the RCS on. It looks as if we are going to go flat down. So, my engines are too heavy. Not particularly surprising, if I'm honest with you, because vectors are very heavy. Also, we used all the fuel up in here first before the other tank. I know what happened there. I didn't put any solid rocket boosters on the solid rocket boosters to push them away from the craft. So when we disconnected them, they just fell. Everything went terribly wrong. Okay. For some reason the canards at the front aren't doing anything. Why aren't you doing anything? No, stop. I need to click on them. There we go. No, it's not them. And we're gonna run out of air. And goodbye. Oh. Well, that was a little surprising, if I'm honest with you. That was a lot surprising, actually. Yeah. So, the front canards didn't do anything. The fuel needs to be sorted out. And I need to get the centre of mass much more forward in this. Okay. So let's go with version 3, shall we? Okay, and we're back with version 3 of the shuttle. The difference is the changes. I've taken the monopropellant out of the wings, so it's not in there anymore. It's now inside tanks inside there. I've also switched this around a bit. This does have a nuclear reactor inside it. You'll see here with a heat shield. There's the monopropellant tanks. Heat shield, sorry, a radiator. I decided to move that forward to try and get the centre of mass moving forward a bit. I don't know if that's going to work or not, but well, we will see. Other changes, we are down to 1 engine on the main stage instead of 2 to try and lighten the rear end of this as well, so we can get forward. These canards were set to pitch only. I've now set them to pitch and roll because I think that's going to be needed. Yaw, and the tail is just set to yaw. Yep. So that's all good. Everything else I think is pretty obvious. Oh, I've changed the flow priority, so these will now flow first. And then these tanks will empty second, hopefully. And I've set the engine to 40% because that's double the 20% that we had last time, and now we only have 1 engine. So I'm hoping that is going to be enough. So here we go again. Let's find out, shall we? I didn't check my thrust to weight ratio. Nah. Ooh, interestingly, that engine is a bit too powerful. Lean over a bit. Why are you still using the fuel? I don't get that. I don't get why that fuel is being used. That is feeding the fuel down there. I do not understand that. I'll be honest with you. I don't understand why that's not working. Oh dear. Steady on. Increase the thrust a bit. Right, we'll level ourselves out a bit. Okay. Whoa. Drop those off. They can now go away. There we go. Now we're just on the two main engines. This is kind of looking good. It's kind of looking good. We are struggling to maintain any form of control, however. We're at the right place. We're going too fast, unfortunately. Ooh. Oh, right. Come on. What's going on here? I'll thrust down a bit, try and get a bit more. So I missed that, although I could probably do that on the way back down again. Probably not too bad. I would really like to point that way though, to try and get us back onto a normal. So it's not very stable, it's really crooked, it's really odd. I need to figure out the fuel feed for some reason. Obviously it is getting fuel from this one here, because otherwise it wouldn't be firing now, but for some strange reason it wants to burn its fuel tanks out first. Even if I set them right down to like a 0 priority, yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on there, but it'll be okay. Okay, so let's cut the engines there. We are going to get up to 151 kilometers. That's okay. That's okay. Let's can't transfer the fuel. Ah, yes, of course. I can't transfer the fuel. That makes sense. You, and I go in, and in. You, oh, out and out. Out and out. Okay, right. That's good. Let's see here. Right, they're down at 0 priority. Okay, and you are up at plus 10 priority. Minus 10, plus 10. Okay, I'm going to put these all up to 11. Ooh. Right, and whoever that burns the fuel off a bit more. Yeah, it does appear to be using the fuel down there instead of... So I'm not sure what I got wrong with the flow priority there. Guess I just have to set the numbers much larger than they actually are. But when I do thrust, that is instantly pushing down. If I put you back up at about 50% now, is that a bit better? A little bit better. Okay. Right. So let's get into orbit, shall we? Let's give this a go. I did build a space shuttle in the last series, which I used to go out to an asteroid and back again over and over and over, using the Mark II, Mark III. This is the Mark II, yeah, the Mark III. They're much larger versions. I was going to do that here, but I don't have the engines unlocked to launch that sort of thing. I need the Rhino, which I have at the moment because I can test it, but I don't actually have access to it. So, right, so let's fire up this all the way. Go up to about 60%. Does that look good? Yeah, okay. I'm going to have to time this perfectly well, because once that engine cuts out, I need you to... Well, you can stop now. Okay. 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 So, we are in orbit. Our space shuttle has made it to orbit. Awesome. It's a really bad orbit. It's absolutely terrible, but it's an orbit nonetheless. so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I do also need to turn on my nuclear reactor. Let's turn that down to something like 3% and enable it. Far up, come on. Now turn you down to. We'll go down. We'll go down to 9%. There we go. That's good enough. Just need to top off the batteries because there's no solar panels on this at all. So, right. So let's. Whoa! What on earth happened there? I haven't quite got the balance right in the engine, see? Just turn that engine back up to fullback, shall we? Use some of this RCS to slow us down a bit. We will re-entry. I just want to use all the fuel that's left up in here. Simple as that. Okay. Right, there we go. Ditch that. Switch over to that. Again, that doesn't disconnect. I think I've got that on the wrong way around, haven't I? Yeah, I've got that on the wrong way around. Oh well. It might cause a problem for landing, but I don't know. Right, let's point prograde. For some reason my probe is on at 90-degree angle. So we'll control from there. We shall lift our nose up and we'll put ourselves back into orbit, shall we? It has about a minute's, well, it has less than a minute because I'm only thrusting at a tiny amount, so it's got a little bit of fuel on board, nothing major. Really, I should not be using the vector for this, that's a bit of overkill. Okay, there we go. Right, we're at 90 by 90, so we could, in theory, rendezvous with the space shuttle, with the space station. That's the word I'm after. We had about 1,000 delta V when we were full. So what's 1,000 delta V? 920 still in our. We need about 930 to break sphere of influence, and then we wouldn't need that much to come back because we could do aero braking. So yeah, okay, and that's 15 days. This does actually have, because Kerbalism has been updated to 1.9 and they've changed the entire way that Kerbals eat and breathe, actually has like 200 days worth of food in it when it's full of Kerbals. So yeah, it's an interesting phenomenon, to be honest with you. It's quite interesting. It's you now need a lot less food than before. That one container is enough for 7 Kerbals for about 200 days, and those two little ones there are about 200 days of oxygen. So it really dropped the amount of food that Kerbals eat, and water and drinking, and everything's fantastic. The only issue that I'm actually even thinking about now is nitrogen, because it drops. You can see there, it just drops. Nitrogen is 15 days with no Kerbals on board. And that's with 1,000 nitrogen. Yeah, I'm not really sure about that. That's a bit weird. And when you EVA a Kerbal, you actually do lose some nitrogen, because it has to repressurize the. You don't lose any for the airlock. It just basically has to repressurize it based on the mass of the Kerbal leaving. So, yeah. Okay, so let's try and land back at the Space Center, shall we? Where is it? That's not it. It is there. Okay. Can't land at the Space Center because, well, we're currently off target for it, so I need to do that and do something like that. Is that going to be about right? There we go. Something like that. That's what we need to do. Okay. Right. Around there. So I need to turn that around. That's not going to be a problem. Hope that's not going to be a problem for the landing gear. Let's put that out for a moment. No, the landing gear does clear it. It might scrape the ground a little bit, but then it might give us a bit of protection. So, I don't know. We'll see. We will see. Okay, so warp to next maneuver. That's going to be overall, I feel. Okay, right. And we will see whether this actually can survive re-entry. Don't know if it would or not. If it can, it will be the perfect craft for taking Kerbals up and for doing lots of contracts for tourists, because I have lots of tourists who want to go around the moon, and this has the Delta V to go around the moon and come back again. It doesn't have a heat shield. Missed my target completely there. It does not have a heat shield, but the Mark II spaceplane stuff is designed kind of for going into space, so we should be okay. Okay, so we're actually going to be short, but that's fine because we are a plane. We have wings. Wings will give us a bit of lift, he says, hopefully. I do not know whether that's actually going to be correct or not, but we will find out. So let's accelerate time down into the atmosphere, and here we go. I have no way to find out where my centre of mass is. I do want to do this without any fuel on board, so that's correct. I'm generally going to keep the nose on the horizon. That's the idea. He says, hopefully. I'm thinking that if I keep it on the horizon, I'm not going to be too harsh of an area. I'm not going to have too much of an area, angle of attack. Sorry. We will find out. Leave the RCS on there. Might as well burn off a bit. Although it is quite good for weight, so I think I will turn off the RCS. I need to pitch down, I need to pitch down, get that nose down, get that nose down. Yeah, I saw the pitch going a bit too nut and bad there, so can't quite pitch level. We've got to actually come in the nose down a bit. We are going to miss the Space Center. That's pretty obvious. Yeah, we're going to well and truly miss the Space Center. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Don't have any air brakes. Didn't think of that either. That could have possibly helped. Air brakes at the back would have helped. Yeah, that is actually pretty level. That is, if I bring the nose up, we're going to glide pretty well by the looks of it. Wow, look at that. This glides nicely. Awesome. Awesome. Pitch is barely moving. Don't think I can glide over the mountains. I don't quite think got enough to do that. It may have, I don't know. My nose down a bit. Ooh. Try not to lose off as much speed. Target there. The flag at the centre of my... Okay, so we are going to glide over the mountains. Okay. That's cool. I'm just really hoping I don't lose too much speed and end up just falling out of the sky. That's okay if I can clear the mountains, do it first, but if I don't clear the mountains and lose too much speed and start falling out of the sky, that's going to hurt. Well, I have got to say, I'm actually quite impressed that this is gliding in any way, shape or form. I wasn't convinced it had enough wings on it, but it does, obviously. It's got enough to glide in. I think if I did a high angle of attack it would flip over backwards. It does have to come in kind of front way, so coming back from out of Kerbin's sphere of influence, do some quite high angle of attack aero braking, and then for the final aero brake have to bring the nose down. So yeah, right. So we're not going to make it to the KSC. We are not going to make it there. But I don't mind that. I don't mind that, if I'm honest with you. We're going to miss the mountains, which is cool. We are actually speeding up, which is fine. There's no problem with that at all. We can bleed off. Losing speed's the easy part. That's kind of easy. You've got this big ball below you, which lets you lose speed very, very quickly if you run into it. So that's the easy part. The hard part is losing speed slowly, or slowly enough to not get anything terribly, terribly wrong. So I'm going to pitch up a bit more now. Yay. I'm certainly no expert when it comes to planes. I know that. I'm not very good with them at all. In fact, to be honest with you, I'm not really an expert at anything in Kerbal Space Program. Things go wrong a lot, but I like that. I like when things go wrong and you have to fix it. There's something about that style of play. A lot of people revert things back, or they'll do things that you don't see, and like they'll do 3 launches, I suppose, and you'll only see the one that works. Which I suppose from an entertaining view is pretty cool, but generally I show stuff. If it goes wrong, I will show it. I don't think I've done anything. I've never reverted a flight back. I think the only real sort of cheeky things I've done, I've explained. I've done things to it. The mining rig, obviously, that broke, and I had to replace it, so I cheated one into orbit and landed it with infinite fuel. That's fine. This you've seen crash, so yeah. Things are okay. I think this is version 3 or version 2. I can't remember. I should have probably named them better, to be honest with you. It certainly glides nicely. It certainly glides nicely. I am really impressed with that. Had I chosen to come down a little bit, well, actually, I was going to fire the engine and aim for the KSC directly, and I misfired it. I fired too much and ended up obviously aiming for the mountains instead. So I think firing for the KSC is probably the way to go. the nose up and try and not run into that hill that's there. I'm not putting the landing gear. I'm not putting the landing gear down yet because that's a lot of drag, and don't particularly want to slow myself down faster than I need to. Although we are coming down at an angle that I probably right. Okay, so we're tops of the trees. Let's put our landing gear down. Put our lights on just because I like the lights on the landing gear. Bleed off a bit more speed. Of course. I'm looking at target marker. What an idiot. We weren't coming down very fast. What an idiot. Oh well, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We couldn't have got to the runway, I don't think. Okay, and it's heavy, it's heavy. It's a heavy touchdown, but it is a touchdown. Brake. That thing just misses the ground. And we're down. Awesome. So, my second or third attempt at this kind of worked. So, yeah. I think we might be able to kick tourism into motion. And tourism means lots and lots of money. But that is all going to have to wait for the next episode. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this one. Hope to see you again next time. And until then, as always, have fun.